Hello, students. Here's the next lesson of entrepreneurship. We are in the last topic of chapter 2, that is, the formalities for starting a business. Now, in this modern business world, it is very difficult to survive in the market. There are a lot of competitions in the market which are very tough and risky. So, before starting a new business, we must analyze the various factors and the problems associated with the business and also scan the market properly. There are few factors which are needed to be kept in mind before starting a business. The first factor is selecting the line of business. The first thing to be decided by the entrepreneur is the line and the type of business he wants to start. That is, whether he wants to set up an industry or involve himself in the commercial activities like buying and selling. Before selecting the line of business, he must look for the business which is more in demand and is more profitable. The second factor is size of the business. After deciding the line of business, the businessman must decide whether he wants to set up a large size firm or a small size firm. Now, for deciding that, he must keep in mind the capacity of arranging the capital, because if he has the capacity to arrange large amount of capital, then he can plan for a large size business. Otherwise, he have to go for a small size firm only. The third one is choice of the form of business. Here, the entrepreneur has to decide the form of business or ownership. That is sole proprietorship business, partnership business, or joint stock company. The explanation of all these forms of business has been given to you in one of the previous lessons. All these forms has its own advantages and disadvantages. But still, the form of business decisions depends on the line and the type of business, capital requirements, division of profit, legal formalities, etc. After keeping all these factors in mind, the entrepreneur has to choose the form of business. The fourth one is location of business on unit. Another important decision of the entrepreneur is to decide the location of the office or the production unit, because any mistake in the selection will result in high loss and inconvenience in getting the raw materials and labors, as well as difficulty in reaching out the customers. The businessman also needs to check whether the raw materials, power supply, labors, banks, transportation, and communication services are available or not near the location of the business. The next one is financial requirements. Now, as we all know, that finance is the lifeblood of any business, whether big or small. So, at first, he must analyze the amount of capital he might require to buy the fixed assets like land and building, machinery, etc., and also the amount required for the investment in current assets like raw materials, stock of goods, etc. Capital is also required for day to day expenses of the business. So, proper planning is needed for the requirement of capital and also the various sources from where he will arrange the amount, and that is whether to take loan or issue shares or debentures, etc. The next one is physical facilities. Here, entrepreneur will decide the type of machinery, equipments, land and building, and other physical assets required to carry on the business. But these decisions again depends on the nature and the size of business, availability of funds, etc. The next one is plant layout. Once the physical facilities are decided, then an entrepreneur should draw a plant layout showing the arrangement of physical assets. Layout means the physical arrangements of the machines and equipments needed to manufacture a product. Number 8, competent and committed workforce. Now, every business, whether big or small, needs some employees or workforce for carrying on the activities. And for the successful business, committed workforce is important. He must decide whether he requires skilled or unskilled employees. He must also decide the number of employees based on the size and the amount of work of the business. Next is tax planning. Here, an entrepreneur must try to analyze the type of taxes he will have to pay. And the last step is setting up the enterprise. After taking the decisions to all the previous factors, an entrepreneur can go ahead and set up his enterprise. He needs to arrange all the resources and complete all the formalities, and after that, he can start the production process and also the sales promotion campaigns.